All right, smash hit, smash hit. The Digimon video is a total success, and after making it, I'm like, I really need to learn how to time lapse things. And I downloaded an app back in the day that could time lapse video, but it left a watermark on them. So I'm like, yeah, it was not perfect. But I'm like, I bet since then. We've found a free video editing app. There probably was one back then. So I'm like, I'll do it. I'll put in the research. I'll find what is the premier video editing software and get it. And I did, and made our first time-lapse video. All of a sudden, not only all of the design stuff, because I've got like lots of ideas for like, how to draw a series and how to design stuff. And that's fun, but trying to get an audience, trying to get and to build an audience and gain popularity on platforms like TikTok, or even just YouTube here. Time-lapse is so valuable. It's so cool. So I'm like, yo, let's do it. Let's get it. And I'm really hyped. I'm hyped that we're gonna be figuring this out and getting the videos out there more. I will be able to make more stuff knowing that I can later time-lapse it without a lot of pressure to have to make it good, to have to be commentating my thoughts and making it entertaining while drawing stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to draw and design stuff. It's perfect for that. So we're gonna go back in, we're gonna do some more Digimon reference. We're just going to reference a bunch of Digimon, maybe reference some Final Fantasy stuff or things from other places. We could just stick to Digimon for now. But maybe even try and do some original designs within the concept as well. Some future designs. Right now we're watching Feng's Design Cinema Sketching 101. Sketching 101 is a great video about how to draw and sketch and reference, build a portfolio, and think like a designer. There's a bit where he has you drawing trees and then making them dimensional. And it's a really good exercise. I remember he says, like, draw the outline of the tree first with the line work, which is totally difficult. It was quite difficult. But if you start drawing the tree and then start drawing its dimensions in right after, I think it's a lot more useful, because then you start thinking in forms almost right away. And this has become part of the exercises that I do. Sometimes I'm just like sketching organic forms. I'm not like looking at a tree, but just thinking of, okay, you're drawing forms in space all of the time. What are they? But taking the tree exercise to that is awesome. Like, you can always just start to draw shapes of different kinds. Sometimes they be like shapes of ships or something. Sometimes shapes of creatures, like that could be its head, that could be its body, it could be a snake creature, who knows. And then you're just like mapping the form with all of these rings and making it dimensional. Yeah, stuff like that. And then you could have a form doing something like twisting into space, right? Where it's like up and then over, and there's like the twist, right? But then the twist can even come back and go the other way, where now it's like twisted further. And then as you're going, you continue to map the form. Yeah, part of it like goes over, and then that, and then it starts to twist the other way. And now all of a sudden it's like dimensional, it has spaciousness. It exists in this space. So to draw shifting forms in space, there's some like a handy, torso twist. Where's the back of the torso, right? That's the side, and it goes over here, and then it has the front of the torso. Yeah, or like the front of the torso. It's like a top-down angle, where it's like the back, and the side gets like smaller there, and then smaller there. Yeah, as it turns into space a little bit, where it's like that. Then you have the back. You can have like a head. Yeah? And that's just a nice exercise to do to understanding any kind of curves in the body. Like even if it's just a little bit, you know? And you can have it down and around, like, yeah. So stuff like that, but the trees are really, really nice. And I've been doing this for a little while, you know? Sometimes you have like, I don't know, like a wide shape and then it turns into like a flat shape. I like wide shapes and then flat shapes just because every shape has a roundedness or flatness. Sometimes it's like rounded around the sides and then goes flat on the front, you know? Whether they're cars or torsos or machines or whatever. So sometimes it's fun to do something like it could curve in a little bit and then be kind of like rounded on the sides, like a disc shape. Something like that. But this bulbous bit in the front kind of wraps over. And then there's all kinds of organic forms. Sometimes, I mean, you can find some of them. There's a video on Proco called like, this guy explains how to draw anything, and he goes through them. No, I remember watching that video and the information was really good, but something about how he was explaining it. I think he used at least a few words I didn't understand in their construction, which I will rarely go, at least at the time. I've been trying to get more studious about it, where if you hear a word that you don't know, you look up the definition of the word and try and figure it out. But most of the time, I would just try and figure it out through context and just keep going. Something about it kind of put me to sleep. A couple times I tried watching the video and like couldn't get through it. And then later found ways to do the things they were talking about in a different way that did make sense to me. And it totally opened it up. Yeah. Huh. Something about, oh yeah, we changed the curve of here because it hit the other shape. I was like, it's not a second twist anymore. I mean, it kind of is. But the same side comes up, whereas it's supposed to be like, side goes over like that, and that side comes out. Yeah. Okay, so we'll do a little bit more of this tree sketch. He shows the exact tree that I'm drawing. I'm sure you can figure it out in the exercise. And there's even like vines on the tree. If you want to take these organic shapes to something more, less abstract and more like you're drawing an actual thing in space and it's got line work. And you can even like, okay, even the vines have dimension. They're not like flat two-dimensional vines. It's like rounded and a little bit flat. And likewise, you don't have to make your measurements and your drawing precise, but they can be as precise as you want. And to go in and to focus and to move at your own rhythm, to whether you should be doing line work or if you want to slow down and try and get something as accurate as possible, which is sometimes a really good idea. I guess, it's like follow your heart is kind of the go-to guidance that I would share, is that like, find the right rhythm for you. Sometimes I learn things just doing a quick reference over it. Sometimes doing a detail sketch, if you can do it, is a really good idea. Okay, this is quite the knot of branches. And like I did there, like starting with the whole thing, was kind of, it was a bit much. And I chose this because, I guess now I'm finding that I chose this because I did this way back in the day when I was just learning design stuff, and I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And I've learned so many things the past few years that have helped in learning design, and I'm trying to bring them back to this exercise, to this process. Okay, and then these two become one. Let's try and like create through your bands the dimensionality of the changing shape of these branches, which don't have one set shape, but the shape continues to morph and change as it moves. So where it has split into two separate branches, and to try and make that obvious, even though they're overlapping, for a minute. And it's a little bit, the whole thing's rounded, but it's definitely got a squarish shape as well. So we're mapping what we were just talking about. And then there's like a larger one coming in here that connects to like two branches, one of them going up right alongside the first structure. Okay, these are two separate branches, but everything in here is kind of like overlaid on top of one another. This one here has a kind of, it's changing in direction. So to move back and forth between drawing form and drawing line work is pretty cool. If you're just focusing solely on the form, like you can look at what Feng has done here. This isn't entirely accurate, but you might not make it as dynamic. You can see it's not just like a cylindrical form in space, but it's changing shapes so many times. It's good to block it into those bold, biggest shapes, and it being such a complex exercise is part of why I think I didn't get it, you know? So you can simplify it into just like mostly cylinders and like what we do with the anatomy, you know? Like you're not drawing all of the full complexity of the anatomy right off the jump, so much as blocking in the largest shapes and kind of working down from that highest point of complexity to what are the most basic shapes that you have in place, and then all of the smaller details sit atop that framework. Yeah, it looks nice. I didn't think it was that exciting to draw roots to trees. I wanted to try drawing dragons and characters and heroes and everything that I liked. But the more that you see, those things are made out of forms. They're made of forms moving into space. Then just doing even a small exercise like this before you take on some anatomy and whatnot, not like, you know, it was like daunting to try and draw tree trunks like all day. Like I wanted to draw something that was motivating to draw, you know, beautiful babes and awesome heroes, heroic action and motorcycles and stuff. I still haven't drawn very many motorcycles. That could be fun. You could even go in and shade some of it after. I'm sure Feng Zhu has, yeah. I'm still on the bit that has like the line work. Yeah, he definitely shades it. We're making this organic form we did part of the tree. I don't think it could be part of the tree. I mean, it would still kind of make sense. You could always remix what Feng has done and try and come up with your own shape for trees. don't expect it to be like effortless. But if you've done a lot of the exercises beforehand and you're making a lot of organic forms, then you could kind of like, okay, I see how these shapes are moving and twisting and like becoming one again. And you can make your own trees, which is pretty cool. In the designer's skill book, the designer's cookbook, if you're doing manga or something and you're doing a bunch of tree roots, like traditionally every mangaka would not look for a reference of the tree. You can find references of trees pretty accurately, but what if you have to change the angle on the exact tree? Now you don't have a reference anymore, and you've got to try and make it look consistent. Like if it only looked good with the reference, then when you take the reference away, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to make it look like consistent, and at least in manga, but also in comics, consistency is huge. Consistency is one of the biggest things that there is. There's lots of ways to use the information that you get. And when I started combining together multiple things, techniques, teachers, was when I started getting the best results. And when I started having a kind of a foundation to build on, make these kind of parts of the same thing. You had a foundation to build on, and then every time you learn a new thing, you can fit it within that foundation. Just like making forms in space, and then developing your own unique voice and style on top of that. And specifying in towards what are you interested to do to make the practice motivating and unique and perfect for you. I felt like that. Like they're like, you have to draw rocks and roots for a long time. And I was like, oh no, rocks and roots? I can't even draw 3D forms in space, And it was like, this will teach you to draw the forms in space. But it was a while before I learned about perspective and how to create boxes in space. And that was the most useful thing, because then I could draw rocks. Beforehand my rocks all looked like, I don't know, lazy. Like I'd run out of focus, I'd run out of attention before I could make them really good, because they weren't motivating, they weren't action-packed at all. Okay. Yeah, so what do I think you should do? Listen to me or Feng Zhu? Just a little bit of me and then Feng Zhu, and then you can come back as much as you like. So just use your own intuition and find what the workflow that works best for you is. Even Ahmed Aldoori has a lot of cool stuff that isn't geared towards the professional design world, but is just as an artist, sitting down and doing references together, breaking down some of the dynamic forms, and some of the design process. Some of the videos he's doing concept design stuff are really, really cool too. But the Reference Wednesday series and the Sketchbook series, felt like wanting to do characters with cool expressions, and to just there's more character focused stuff than the Feng Zhu, which doesn't have a lot of character stuff. Even the characters are of utility, he draws some soldiers in here that are really, really good, but they're just to serve to create the world of a game, right? They don't have their own character. They're just doing this design utility thing very functionally. And that's a beautiful thing for a concept designer. That would be like, you know, the thing that you would want them to be the most, I think. Let's see. Okay, we won't design too much of this. The bottom side should be shadowed. And then maybe it should have like a bounce lighting from the other side. That'd be cool. But the sides should also be a little bit shadowed. And since they're jungle trees, you know, you should maybe try to shadow in the same direction. I'm terrible at doing curved shadowing. I usually just end up doing straight shadowing. And kind of, if I have to, like curving it through blending it a little. Let's say like that direction is the light, like that side. It's that side, and all of these sides are gonna get hit. Just a bit. I want to make them more shiny. You can go in with an eraser though after and make them shiny. Force them to be shiny. No, I think they become shiny quite willingly. Yeah, that looks good. Looks kind of good. Let's see, we've lost some of their dimensionality. You can do that part if you want. You could shade them in way better than I'm doing here. I'm glad that we still have, like, even though I erased it, there's like the corners of dimensionality. Like the tree wouldn't really have all of those bands on it. You'd want to be able to suggest them. Say you're drawing a tree for manga or like concept design of a tree. Although, I mean, that's kind of like math to calculators with AIs that can do trees, right? I'm kidding. You want to be able to draw trees. But I'm saying if you had to, you'd never really have to. Okay, should we try and draw something that isn't a tree? I thought he did soldiers in this one. I might be thinking of a different thing. I think he spends like all day. Yeah, no, at like 50 minutes in, I mean, he spends all day doing and talking about what you gain with concept design, but I would have been into seeing him give examples of what you can do in time if you learn these skills right off the bat. Because after watching all of that, I was like, okay, this is the motivation for drawing the trees, at least. And I think I paused the video and tried to draw trees before watching it and lost motivation. Then was like, oh, you can do dragons and spaceships and stuff out of the like shapes that you can make. We'll do one of his dragons. Yeah, I love his dragon drawing video. He draws so many cool dragons in the part where he says, then like 1/3 of them standard dragons, 1/3 of them like variant dragons, 1/3 of them wild style dragons, but people are usually just going to pick the standard dragon because they know that it's popular, right? They don't want to take a chance on this wild design. And I was like, oh man, me, Feng, I do. I want to make an RPG game where we're like, we want you designers to come up with the wildest, coolest creatures. Because you're like, why are more designs in games not more original? And it's not the designers, you know? I was like, oh, I thought it was the designers. And it's like, nah, it's the money guys making the games that want to make a profitable, successful game, you know? But if you're like, we also want to make a original, dynamic, badass game, need more spaciousness under this dragon. Maybe not. And even like up here, it's like it's a perspective that doesn't get a whole bunch. It's like top down the whole way. Sometimes you'll have a perspective where you're like looking up at the top of it and looking down at the bottom of it, and it's like eye level height right at the middle. Like you had a camera or a lens that was quite close to your thing. But if you were, photographing it from the distance, then even as its head curves around and there'd be less curve, I think it would still be like all top down. We're definitely adapting from Feng's design. But you also want to pick up original designs of creatures. Like it's fine to try and do a reference of something and then change it a little. Or if you're learning certain types of things that you already know, to apply them. If you've done a reference already, you're like, oh, I can try and change it with this other thing that I've learned and try and fit them together. But if you're, coming up with ideas for a project specific, is like you want to not have it be a clear copy of anything. Feng will tell you all day, over and over. And that's true. You want your designs to be very original, and you want to have the capacity and the tools to create original designs. Although I think every designer in the world probably had one day where they couldn't really think of designs and just went on to ArtStation and got, an idea for something and then mixed it a bunch of ways so it didn't read as just the same. But, used it as the base component in that Feng Zhu design strategy where you use the shape of something and then you add on different details and you mix some of the details in different ways. See, we're adding in a cheekbone thing. It's like that tree up there, the flat side that curves in. yeah, you can do things with the tree shape. Or like the neck, yo. Big old neck things. Those are like rounded, but then the neck comes in and then they become one thing. It eventually is just like one shape right here. It's just like some ridges. Yeah, I love his giraffe dragon thing. It's so cool. Go Feng. Yeah, no, it always had me wondering, he spends so much time being like, when you work in the concept art industry, you have to draw barrels, you have to sometimes crush your creativity to make something that will sell for the people that will hire you, or you won't get the jobs that you need. So it's like job security in the concept art industry. I'm like, oh, Feng, if you could do whatever crazy design you wanted and really had like the reign to make one of these totally magical worlds, like what would it be like, man? Sounds like so many times he's been working to spec so much. But whenever he's like, oh, we'll just do a totally colorful, awesome thing, it's really good. It's always great. Yeah. I wonder if there's a list sometime of all the things Feng Zhu's worked on. So much. Spread your design wings. Yeah, no, it should still be like, it's kind of like eye level up there now. We've changed the lens. It's fine. because we want to move along. Having that three-dimensional shape is really good. It was kind of a one-dimensional leg before. Okay. Whoa, sorry to draw near the bottom of my canvas. There we go. Now that we're moving on to this other spot. Let's see, like a mecha spider. We'll try to, draw the platform on which it stands first. Always a good move. Try and draw the body of this thing. And it's got a kind of shape like that. You can break these shapes down now if you've drawn enough shapes, both organic and mechanical, so that even though this is mechanical, it's all made of curved shapes that fit together kind of organically. Like up and over, comes out. There's like this bubble window space. I think it's the example from the reskin video where he's talking about you take the shape of the spider and you take the equipment of old diving equipment and you combine those things together with the skill set of a designer. And reskin is one of the main things that you do in design. If you want to come up with a cool design really, really, really quickly that reads, you take something familiar and another familiar thing, but you combine them together in a way that people have never seen before. And you have like a purple cow scenario where, we all know cows. See them all the time. Cows have become wallpaper to us. But if you see a purple cow, now you'll stop and take notice. And in advertising, that's the number one thing they're trying to do, is to get people to stop and give them your attention. Because if someone gives you your attention and you make them familiar with your brand, even if that's the only thing that they know, if they're in an aisle full of unfamiliar products, they'll choose the one that they have any relationship with. So a lot of advertising is just trying to make something, memorable. Even if you're like, I wasted my time with that ad. It wasn't, you ate the ad and you didn't even like it. But if you remember their thing, man, they did their job. Oh shit, we should do this quicker. Quicker is often better if you're doing things like when you're doing studies, but you don't want to just be like putting around on a design. Okay. And the last one over there. Okay, it's a little bit like that, and then that. They curve out, come down, and I guess to be to be deliberate when you're capturing reference on things. If you're like, how do these legs work? You might take a little bit more time to figure out what the hell shape are they. And if you wanted to, you could do another breakdown on like what's the side view of these legs, or like front side or something, and just draw the leg. So that when you're drawing other legs, you have now a piece of design. And even if you're, you're not using the shape of this Feng spider, if you use its legs for something, that'd be fine. And if you change the shape of those legs, even, like you've learned the shapes of them, now if you look at a different mecha and how the armor is fitting together, armor on mechas is so difficult. I've seen some people that can kind of just do it, like with a pen, like first try. I guess dudes like Chromamoma, even he does block in some of the shapes, but he's using a pen for it, and it looks difficult. He's got more focus than I do. So I'm like, drawing like these things and then going over and erasing, which you can totally do in the digital field, but it's a lot of people find drawing with a pen to be really good and healthy and a good exercise. I haven't quite found my way with it, but you should try it. So many artists are like, you know, use a pen. And it does tend to be very like bold and dynamic and builds the confidence. Sometimes it would just take my confidence away almost as quickly right after it had given it by my inability to work in depth on the design that I'm working on. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's, you know, my confidence is there, but if I can't keep editing it over time, then even if the line is very strong and, you know, bold, it's like I want to be able to use them further. Anyway, no, pen drawing is great. You should pick it up. Not a great study of the legs, but we kind of took their base shape and started mixing them in different ways after learning about them, so it's still good. And to do like a little free drawing exercise on the side of your reference is awesome. Or like, we have the mecha spider thing now. It's got windows on the front of it. We have the most blocky, bold shape of the mecha spider thing. These are awesome. Yeah, no, if you're checking art stations, sometimes you'll find someone using a Feng technique, you know, really, really accurately. You're like, yo, it's a reskin. Super good. Or someone in their portfolio. Yeah. It's got like one of these, and this shape is a little different. Like, starts curving out. So like over and up. Over. And that. It's got like a little tower on the back of it. I mean, like a scanner or something. Antenna. You know, some kind of a sensor. Fengzi is well versed in many things, both actual military NASA sea-bearing equipments and, you know, the design language of many popular types of things. So like when it comes to a scanner and how those look, like, are there real scanners? Not usually in the sense that you would have in sci-fi, I think, but there's radio equipment and stuff. So you're putting the worlds together and building things based on not only what we know about real world things, but what we assume based on all of our fictional world things that create like our, you know, shared visual library. And we're changing it up a little. Okay, so you could do like, I don't know, like a top-down view of the mecha spider. With like the big shapes, and the body comes around, the head kind of comes out of the body and goes forward. Actual shape with the window on it is curved down, going away from us into space. It's got all these awesome legs. They go out and then down. So like out and then down. So it's not quite top down, so that we can suggest it the way they change. Yo, there we go. If you're actually taking it on, you probably want it to be more accurate. Yeah, more accurate, more lasting. Okay, I think he's got some guys in here too. And creatures. His portfolio is crazy. And like vehicles and stuff. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. He makes some crazy vehicles. We'll see how quick we can draw them. Um, so it's like a tractor thing, or it's like a car thing. There's a tractor next to it. It's like an old style car. Yeah, you could try and figure out how accurately you could do it too. These are just the kind that I usually go for, unless it's something that I'm specifically going to work on for a project or something. Or if you're in a course and they had mapped, like, do 5 technical illustrations and it was motivating to you in that way, that would be an added incentivization for doing a really good job learning things. Just find whatever style of practice works best for you, I think. Guy in the back. There's like... oh, shit. You know, window. It's like a car thing. It's got a gun on top. Feng's like, I'm gonna get you for bastardizing my design lesson. But I'm just giving you an example of, like, do reference from things while you're moving along, and how to reference shapes and forms, and how I find things that works towards, you know, what I'm good at and the way that I learn as well. Because doing in-depth references like these, I'd be like, okay. But when I find the motivation of, like, learning how to do shapes in space was definitely the thing that let me take these on, where for the longest time I was like, okay, I'm kind of drawing the shapes of them, but I don't understand their form and function in 3 dimensions and how it reads and makes sense. Oh shit, I combined together 2 of the cars by glancing at the top one. That's okay. It's all right. Where if you're, like, drawing, I don't know, like a little Western shootout manga in a desolate town type deal, now when you learn how to draw a town, it's like that's going to be an asset for you very soon, and you'll be able to use it. And when you have your characters, you're like, I love that character, the design was good, and they're going to be running around this town. So you can put a little bit more of your heart into it. I just learned how to draw ellipses better than I have just the other day. I have spent so long not really knowing about how to do ellipses. And just, like, you know, do your best. Do your best and move forward. Ellipses. We're not making this as top down as it should be. Yeah, it's like there. Draw the square under your reference of fancy things always. Draw the square. It should be there. See, I'm not even using all the details of this thing. So I'm trying to level up my own, like, I'm making cars. I'll be able to make them. Or even just, like, what is the career you see yourself as? Like, I wanted to be able to collaborate with people that are good at drawing cars, but it'd be worth it to learn how to draw cars better. Okay, we'll come back to it. We have a more foundational sense of car anatomy from doing some in-depth studies. Things to do in-depth studies on probably aren't these already mixed tractor things, although they could be. We'll change up the angle on this guy a little bit. Okay, so it's like bam. Changed up the shape a little bit too. There's like a thing here. The hook's on. Goes down. And in this seat, there's like a dude. It's like leaning over. And he's like locked in to destroy stuff on this Mad Max tractor. Dude. Okay. So you can draw like what is the parameters of this wheel in space. And block in where it's gonna be. And then kind of like yeah, get it. And then got it. There you go. See, the outside of this wheel is a little bit smaller, so it should like go up in the middle. And it should be, you know, from the down angle as well, even as it's a wheel. It curves all the way around. There's like 3 things up here. Love that. It makes the whole thing look quite a bit better. Okay, there's like a engine on the side of it. It's so complex, but try not to get, you know, disoriented. And you can go in and practice simpler things first. I remember trying to draw these guys and just being lost. So lost, part way. Like I might be able to get, you know, like a bad version of those first shapes, but when it came to adding in the details and keeping things consistent, and keeping in the perspective, and, you know, having the shapes of everything mapped out. Even these have form. So there's like form there. His legs coming down like there. Goes back there. There's like mechanical parts. A couple lights on the front. The way Feng goes in layers is like he knows how to layer this thing with the biggest shapes and then into smaller and then into smaller. And I would be like trying to do the details. Like I'm doing tertiary work when what you should be doing is like secondary work across the whole thing in consistent layers so that you can work as effectively as possible. That's something that you can't pick up on just coming in to reference it, unless you see him drawing it on some of his things, where you can stop and what are the first steps, what are the second steps, what are the third steps. Feng is one of the dudes where you can do that, and then you can guess his design process without having to have seen it accurately or clinically. Okay, drawing bugs. You can't not draw some bugs if you're referencing Feng Zhu. His making mecha things out of bugs. Oh man, he's the champion of that. It's like a wasp. I think it's a wasp. It's like down, up. Now it's okay, it's like hard down and then long out and then up a little that connects to this joint and then down. Right? So it's like hard, drop, out, and then up, and there's like a knob, and it's like down. Yeah, so sometimes you have to slow down to take in a new thing, where you're like, okay, that's not just over. There's like the way that it drops off of the torso, and the way these things move. At least, yeah, these are going up a good bit. You just couldn't see them from the angle, but you look at the third one, You're like, yeah, it is like down and then up to the joint. And then down. And then you can do them really, really, really fast. The other side. Now that you've learned them, it's like I think everyone that watches Feng Zhu videos wants to do something in their life that will make Feng Zhu proud, you know? You want him to be proud of you as a designer. After having taught you things, he would always be like, oh yeah, that's a good job. Now on to the next thing, production pipeline. You know, there's always another thing. I bet he could celebrate the accomplishments of his students or friends or whatnot. I'm not saying he'd always be like that. Okay, the wings of this thing fold down by the side, and it's like up like that, and then they cut like that along the side of the stinger. Those are the wings, right? I'm pretty sure they're the wings. So this one's like also going to the side of the stinger. It's a big ass stinger. Do they really fit that way? I guess they do. It's probably how real hornets work. And it's got a lizard fin? No way is this a real thing. This is an alien insectoid for sure. For sure. Okay, should we call it there? I guess we specialize in drawing people, so it would look coolest if we draw some people here before we get off. And get back to it. No, I've kind of made this more my focus, and I was just going in here to learn some foundational design and then to come back in and be drawing more Digimons. Yeah, we're still gonna do that. Okay, so there's a guy. We'll just try and capture the form of the first soldier. Nice. And to there, this guy's standing at like one of these. So it should look like it. Okay, his leg even has a thing where it's like, you know, kind of a horizontal shape, you know? Like flatter on the front, longer on the side, which is a good shape for legs. And yeah, you can see like the tops of the soldiers are at eye level. And that's because if you're photographing a person, you'd be standing nearer them and it would be like eye level in the photograph. But if you're photographing a ship, you'd be photographing it from a long ass distance away, where at least that's what I imagine, because most of the photos of boats and ships and stuff you see, they are from that, like from the side of a barracks or something. So it's all almost one angle, whereas photos of people, you see them at vanishing point eye, down by the feet. He's drawing it like that here. Okay, so the shape of the gun is a thing that you'd like pay attention to. See, how can you get the shape of this thing right? If he's going that way, it's going this way. Triggers like there. His forearm goes out and then up to the arm, attaches right onto the side of the torso. His other hand's like there or something. It's quite small. It's quite small from here. Guess we could full screen it. Yeah. These are one of the Feng Zhu designs that I saw on Pinterest when I typed in Feng Zhu. I was like, hell yeah. Okay, top of the head, helmet, down, ching, nice. Okay. cool. And some more of these guys. Let's see. We can have this dude. Okay, it's like that. And then eye level by his shoulders of him. So they're not in exactly the same frame. This is a good position because 1 foot is here and 1 foot is here. And, you know, his body's there. Shoulders there. We could try and turn down the angle a little bit more. Okay. Like that. Helmet there. His arm is going out and down and then over and in. And he's got an assault rifle angled downwards because the wrist turns, you know? So his hand is like that. His arm's going in. Crazy good. Crazy sci-fi gun. Awesome looking sci-fi gun. Now, I'm not going to copy Fengzu's guns or tech too much because then when I'm drawing guns and tech, I'll want to reference Fengzu and I want to spend the time and energy to build my own shapes and to be able to have confidence in them, you know? Okay, so this one's like that, and this leg is like out and forwards, exaggerated even a little. And you can see the bottom side of his shoe. Wild. So that's like, you know, you're looking like that a little bit. It's like that. And the other arm is over and in like a badass. Yeah, I remember being hella intimidated by this. And being like, okay, this is awesome, but what is necessary to make comics? You know, like these are too detailed to be able to use in comics. Now you could use the just general shape, but then it's like how much detail is like a good amount for making comic characters. And then gaining a shorthand with those details where you've drawn the suit from every angle where you don't have to make a new one, but being able to create your own shapes in 3 dimensions so that you can design new things anywhere you are and to spend time memorizing a bunch of forms, totally useful. Then you won't just have like your one like shinobi ninja like jump bodyguard armor pack thing that Kakashi wears and every other shinobi. They got the one set style. And then like, you know, the girl who's an instructor. A number of characters have their own unique gear, but there's like hundreds of different iterations and times that they use that one design. It's incredibly, he gets a lot of mileage. He gets a lot of mileage out of those. And it's totally iconic. Like the shinobis from Naruto still look cool. They look awesome. Yeah, we'll see if we can draw Kakashi from reference. Let's see. Now his hair spikes forwards, like in profile view, which is totally cool. I don't know of any other shinobis that use this. I mean, I don't know what the design on the generic Konoha shinobis are. I think Itachi wears one. I guess he is Black Ops. And it's got like pockets on the front, and the pockets have to have 3-dimensional space, so they tell you the angle of the torso instantly in just like 1 second of drawing them. Like black tight. Drawing like Fengzu style Kakashi. His other arm there. His torso would be bent out, his knee up, and he's jumping on from a tree branch. They've got a lot of really great poses and shots of the conversations that happen while characters are moving from one location to another. So like, His like mask is pulled over one eye. His headband is pulled over one eye. Cool. It's got like like a wide collar around it though. It's got a collar that goes up and is kind of wide and goes around the head. I wanted one when watching Naruto. You're like, you wanted to be Kakashi too? Yeah, I didn't think I could be Takashi, but I wanted to be Kakashi. But I wanted to be a shinobi. You have to start there. I'm not that crazy. I want to be Kakashi now in time. Okay. This marks a pretty damn good exercise of drawing Feng Zhu stuff. We're pretty well and warmed up. Let's see if we can do a pig from the front. This pig thing. See, and I mean, you have to be grateful at times, like when Feng Zhu is like doing the turtle and then draws the turtle riding people. He probably spent time perfecting that, doing stuff like these pigs and lots of other designs and drawings. Like figuring out how to draw all the straps and ropes and pulleys and different things. Okay, so down like that, and then back, and then down. That is like most animals' back leg. Got this big wide haunch, and then it goes there, and it's like, gets small. It's like leg shape there. And then down, part of the haunch connects to the torso, part of it can swing out. Yeah, they have to, but mostly it's there for like pushing the ground away from them while they move. Oh, I got a kitty to attend to, so I can be able to finish this thing maybe. And there's a guy up here. It's riding the boar. Ride the shoe puff. He's lounging. Yeah, there are a series of ropes things. All right. Hang loose, have fun designing things, make things that you love, learn stuff from everything, try to find the next best step forward that is most motivating for you. And I'd start with how you make really basic shapes and take things that you're interested in and then break them down into their most basic shapes. Like we'll do characters, but you could also do a couple animals and stuff, like differences between characters and animals, and then the most basic type of cars. And work up from there, and then you can do infinite, complex, in-depth studies on all sorts of things. Yeah, car. Kind of. This is how I draw stuff best. The in-depth technical drawing things start to get lost. And if you can kind of capture the shape and the bold forms and then start to refine them and add into them, just make use of every stroke and movement. Cool. Things to like sell the angle again, or you can kind of continue adding in the angle. Lots of things are still malleable, but you do want to try and find the most efficient sequence of shapes and to be able to draw things consistently as well. You know? I could probably draw this car again from a different angle. I mean, I can't say it line up 100%, and it should. Bam. All right, peace and love. Oh, did we miss that car? Yeah, I drew this car. Yeah, all right. I can't fit it. We'll get a really good setup soon. Peace and love, my friends. Enjoy drawing.